If you're still watching, I'll assume you enjoyed that. The long scene where Max takes his pal Riton to the secret hideaway is the litmus test for whether or not you appreciate Jacques Becker's approach to cinema. Absolutely nothing happens in that apartment to advance the plot. Yet the director lingers over the details of their late-night supper as if he's directing the robbery scene in Rafifi. Only he's more interested in the pouring of wine and spreading of pâté than the mechanics of the plot. But it's through these seemingly mundane domestic rituals that we learn who these guys are and feel the bond they share. For some people, this scene is where they check out, complaining that nothing is happening. For others, it's the essence of the movie. Becker once said, semi-seriously, that his goal was to make a film with no beginning, no end, and virtually no story. Look at it this way. In France, it's the height of rudeness to ask someone what they do for a living. People don't want to be defined by their work. They want to be appreciated for how they live. For Jacques Becker, Max's criminal plans are no more significant than what he plans to eat for dinner. Less, actually. Becker came from a well-off family, the son of an industrialist and a fashion designer. But in the 1930s, he skipped out on becoming an engineer to work as an assistant to Jean Renoir, France's greatest movie maker. Renoir once described Becker as being like a brother and a son. In fact, Marguerite Renoir, the director's common-law wife, edited many of Becker's films, including Touchez a grisbi. If Becker was not as well known in the States as his mentor, that's because not many French films were distributed globally between the 1930s and the 1960s, when directors like Jean-Luc Godard and François Truffaut led a new wave in French filmmaking. But within France, Touchez a grisbi was a pivotal film, ushering in a renaissance in crime movies, what in France are called policiers. Jean Gabin made more than his share, often playing aging criminals teaching the tricks of the trade to fresh talent, which was precisely the mentor figure Gabin was for the next generation of French actors, guys like Jean-Paul Belmondo, Alain Delon, and his co-star in today's film, Lino Ventura. Jacques Becker made his last film in 1960, the extraordinary Latru, in which he used his patient, methodical approach to depict in excruciating detail the planning and execution of a prison break. His colleague, Jean-Pierre Melville, called it the greatest French film ever made. At the time, however, international audiences overlooked it, as Godard's first feature, Breathless, garnered all the attention overseas for its innovative and edgy style. Becker died of cancer a few weeks before the release of Latru, at only 53 years of age. Now, after making his debut in Touchez a grisbi, Lino Ventura made 5 more films with Jean Gabin, and the two became good friends. In fact, when Gabin's daughter Florence married a guy her father didn't approve of, he sent his pal Lino to walk her down the aisle. But Gabin could also let go of a grudge. For the role of Marinette, the nightclub manager, he lobbied Becker to cast Gaby Bassett, his first wife. They had divorced in 1931, but remained friends for the rest of their lives. Next week, we're going to Argentina. But don't worry, you subtitle haters. It's a Hollywood movie, starring a grizzled Dick Powell in one of his earliest tough guy roles. Join me for RKO's 1945 release, Cornered. Until then, on se rencontre dans l'ombre.